Kirsha, have you followed Marty O'Donnell at all in his
Yeah,
journey?
of course.
Okay, so Marty's going to be joining us at Sin City coming up here in a few weeks. Very much looking forward to that. And he was making the rounds after he got more or less bumped from that SAC anime event. That was last week or so, and that
Yeah, I
was
commented
so
on a post about it because I mean, like I've gotten blacklisted from being on panels from the other convention, so like very much related. But his was even worse because it's like, how are you gonna have a Halo like get together and not invite one of the Halo guys? That's fucked up.
right, right. As the guy who literally hired all the people that they're bringing to the event.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right, right. Well, he has been making the rounds. He was on our show. He was on a lot of people's show, just talking about this. But he was on with OAN the other day, and he was talking about the mindset of the gamer versus the industry and the setup. I wanted to play this little clip here to get your thoughts on this.
I think gamers do fall naturally outside, and it's the old everybody gets a trophy mentality. No real gamer wants to play a game where everybody wins. Gamers, by the very
Right.
nature of the competitive and fun nature of games, you want to get better. You want to talk to your friends and find out that they found something that you didn't find, that they did it faster, they got more
Right.
points, they found something
It's
that
zero
was hidden.
sum.
Yeah, and it's so like they can't imagine why the things that they grew up loving are being changed against their will, and they're being preached at now. These stories are very complex. The stories in games can be very deep. We have every Hollywood actor has been in a game now, so it's not a small part of culture. It's an integral
No.
part of our culture. And, hardcore gamers and casual gamers don't want to be preached at.
He's completely correct in everything he said.
I found that really interesting, and I agree 100%. This idea, and I want to go back to his quote here, that gamers naturally have a conservative mindset because nobody wants to play a video game where everybody wins. I love that quote, and there's meritocracy in video games. There's a winner in video games. That's
I've
what
been
makes
We've
saying
all
that
had the
games.
forever.
experience of the subterranean mole people on our teams. We hate it.
I've been using that as an example about communism all the time. All the time.
Isn't it ironic though that there's so many people who think their worldview that they're producing these products that don't align with how they think. You have these commies who want to make sure everybody has whatever, right? And we're going to tax the mega rich or whatever. They don't even know what that means. But they're making games where there's ultimately a winner in a battle royale. Let's just say an EA game or whatever. There's always going to be one winner, whether it's a fighting game, whether it's a battle royale, whether it's whatever. And it's such a natural mindset, and I think Marty nails it right there. It's awesome. And he was talking about, there's been a lot of talk about the Halo team recently. We had that viral post from Niles, who worked on Halo 3, talking about how the band will never get back together, right? And even if it did, you would not produce the same results, right? Because people change, people's ambitions, they may not have as much ambition or whatever, right? But that doesn't mean they necessarily liked each other while working together. And Marty continued and spoke about this a little bit more.
I've spent almost my entire career working with people who disagree with me politically, and there's always a way to find common goals and find a vision for something that we all agree on. Especially when it comes to doing things like shipping a video game, you got to believe that there's a lot of artists and designers and programmers who don't necessarily agree with me about politics, but it's never been something that prevented us from working together. It's just a shame. I've been to several of these fan service events. This is for the fans. These are fans who grew up with the game, love the people who I cast for voice acting who are going to be there. The voice actors really love it when I'm there because I know about the development of the game better than they do because they only came in for an hour or two many times to do their voice work. So it was a pleasure to be asked to come to the SAC anime convention. And it was a shock to me that because I said Marxism is an existential threat to our country, that they decided that they were uncomfortable with me being there.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane, and he shouldn't be treated like that. And I think it's awful that our side is mostly the side of, yeah, we can believe different things and we can still get along. It's no big deal. Well, their side is like, you must believe the same things we do, or you're going to get shut the fuck out. Because those two things cannot exist together. You have to start adopting the, okay, if you're going to relentlessly attack everyone, then we have to start being exclusionary too, even though we don't want to. And then they immediately start the pointing fingers of, oh, well, you're a hypocrite now. And it's like, we're not a hypocrite. We have to adapt to the rules of engagement that you fucking set.
I found it amazing that he talked about how people that he worked with didn't agree with him, right? And I would say that most people that he worked with probably didn't know how he thought. Now it's just one of those things that you see. It's apparently a very vital part of the workplace. That
well, now
it's
not only just something that like everyone's encouraged to bring to work, right? Like bring your whole authentic self to work, or what the fuck ever they say.
Right.
But it's also just like so many things that shouldn't be political have become so. Edgy jokes shouldn't be like, oh, you're on the right if you're okay with edgy jokes, right? That shouldn't be a thing. It should be everyone can enjoy something edgy, right? You don't have to be against it if it's comedic. You can not like a joke and still be like, well, they have a right to say it. And that just completely has ended on the left. And so like there's certain just like everyday normal things that just used to be that now pigeonhole you into one political camp or another.
I'm going to be very curious to see what happens with SAC Anime. I don't know if it's going to mess with their attendance with Marty in particular, but probably not. I don't know. I hope that some people that were maybe going to SAC Anime decided not to go to SAC Anime. But Marty had a viral post the other day, which I think really nailed it. He said, they can invite me from all the Halo events that they want. I just want to leave my grandkids with a nation that hasn't been rendered completely unrecognizable by Marxism.
100%. And it's like when this kind of stuff happens, never let them forget about this. I use Advanced GG as a great example, but anytime Advanced GG posts anything, they get a deluge of people reminding everyone that, hey, these people got rid of Rev and Straub for literally no reason. Why would you work with them? And I think that if companies come back and decide to be like, okay, we fucked up, we shouldn't have listened to the cancel mob, we're going to start working with you again, I think that kind of grace should be allowed to happen if they do that kind of about face. We haven't seen that yet. Yeah. And it'd be very curious, like, what would people want from a company like doing that kind of about face, right? To like sort of show that they mean it.
You're very forgiving. That'd be very forgiving. I'm not that nice.
Hell no.
Yeah. I don't know. I think once you cross that line and you start going down the cancel, I think most people are very forgiving when it comes to that. They're like you, Kirsha, but I know God King Emperor Phoenix over here, once you cross that line, you're off the list.
Yeah.
Let's take like Ubisoft as an example, right? If Ubisoft came out and they're like, well, we fired the people who are responsible for a lot of this shit. We have an entirely new team. We're not going to do any of this woke shit. We want to work together with people we fired before. Like, they're welcome to come back if they want. And we're going to make good games again. I think a correct response to that would be like, I don't really believe you, but I'm going to watch you and I'm going to see what you do. And if you deliver, you're probably going to get some of my confidence back.
Well, I've said that as long as everyone in a company, the janitor and CEOs are both, all sides here, are completely gone and it's new people, okay. But everyone has to go. Because if you were complicit with it, you didn't say anything or you didn't quit on your own, you're also part of that group.
That's fair.
Quick side note here. I'm just seeing this on X, right? It is somewhat related to what we're talking about here. But this has to do with the WNBA story and the whole trans athlete stuff. Just seeing this from this guy. You're talking about moving on, Phoenix. This guy, Matt Kalkik, says, after 11 years as a sports columnist at the Seattle Times, I've decided to resign. It was entirely my choice and was not an easy one. The impetus was the Times declining to run a column I wrote from the perspective of the two female student athletes who were opposed to competing against biological males. It was one of several pieces of mine that had been spiked, and I no longer felt that I could properly do my job as a columnist. I lay out the situation in greater detail in the link below, but I want to say I enjoyed my time with the paper, find the talent there to be immense, and I have no animosity towards anyone who works there. It was just time for a change.
Attaboy. And attaboy. And, again, my philosophy is what I try my best to do is I try my best to reward and look out for people that do those things, right? Like, you don't want it to be just like, hey, attaboy, and then we forget about that person. It's making sure that they're seen and heard from our community, making sure that maybe they can get a job somewhere else with a place that kind of is more in line with our way of thinking, et cetera. So it's never like, when someone is willing to sacrifice themselves for that, I like to do my best to ensure that they are rewarded to some capacity to continue doing what they were doing there.